In today's idea in brief, I want to talk to you about this misconceived idea about midlife crisis. You see that some people, when they approach the age between 35 and 55, all of a sudden they start misbehaving. Either some of them buy bling bling, they buy gold and put on their neck. Some of them buy very crazy motorcycles going at crazy speeds. Some of them start running after women, people's wives and daughters, yet they know very well that even if you have reached 40, sleeping with a girl who is younger will not make you younger. The fact is that we are approaching sunset, and midlife crisis should not mean that you are in a kind of a crisis. Midlife crisis has been completely misunderstood. So how should we be able to look at this aspect in regards to exactly the meaning of midlife crisis? First and foremost, let's look at the origin. Midlife crisis is a term which was used by Elliot Jacques in 1965, who was looking from the theory of Sigmund Freud. Of course, Sigmund Freud had disciples like Carl Jung, who came up with an idea that midlife crisis is that time when you transition. As a boy, you transition to be a man, and as a girl, you transition to be a woman. So the transition was more or less of becoming somebody who is mature and adult. But if you use that to mean that now you start misbehaving, I'm sure somebody who is reckless and not taking care of his life does not really show that they are transitioning from a girl to a woman, does not transition from a boy to a man. And that's why I want to talk to you about this midlife crisis of what you need to do. So for me, midlife crisis when you reach 35 to 55 is a time when you look back at what you have achieved in the past and compare to what you think that a successful man or woman should achieve at 35 and 40, and you discover that you have not done much. And these targets could be many anything. Could be career target, could be education target, could be economic target, could be about social targets. And that's why people regret when they reach here and they discover, actually, I've not achieved what I need to achieve, and there's a gap that I need to address. So that gap brings a crisis. So according to me, instead of going into reckless behaviors, what you need to do is to look for a way on which you can set goals again, clear, and fast track them. So that by the time you reach 50, because between 35 and 55, you should have been able to achieve these targets. And that's what you see people after working in a company, you work for employers for long, all of a sudden people resigning at that age 40, 42, to set up their own businesses or change career because they discover the way they have been living their life, they cannot get to the target they need to do, and that cannot define their success.
Okay, Doctor, we have a question here. There are some people who have reached this age and they're trying to improve their lives by maybe trying to change something, but they realize they cannot actually achieve this. What can you tell them?
Oh yeah, I know. There's those kind of people that when they try, then they enter in a crisis because they want to achieve much, but they can't achieve it. So they enter in a crisis by starting to drink alcohol or misbehave. But what I can say is that this target we are talking about here is all to do with happiness. So let's assume that everybody's ultimate role in this life is to be ultimately happy. So then happiness has a formula. In fact, happiness has a mathematical formula. And the formula is that happiness is equal to achievements divided by expectations. So if you discover that you had set very high expectations of yourself and you're not achieving them, the first thing is to know whether you have capacity to achieve them now, or if you know you can't achieve them, why don't you just lower your expectation and then you are happy? And with that, I think that anybody has, a ticket to be happy. Thank you very much.
Awesome.